Okay. But,
See,
but that's the thing. Paul is the
would've-
one who's supposed to click the button.
If Paul doesn't click the button, I mean, nobody else knows what to do.
I don't believe this. This is absolute horseshit.
What? It's
what?
We're just following the rules. Paul's supposed to press the button.
No truly
Okay.
evil person crochets yarn.
You know
haven't
what?
met V, have you?
One, I will say anyone who is meticulous enough to make thousands upon thousands of tiny knots over and over with a small hooked piece of metal definitely has evil tendencies. And yeah, so I don't know why so much of chat's like, oh no, she can't be evil. Oh no, she's not nearly. You have not met me.
I've met her.
I can just see her now. Bond is tied to a table, and she goes, "Bless your heart," and cuts him in half with a laser.
While drinking coffee.
Tea, like drinking tea.
It's like, so, Mr. Bond, you used my fabric scissors. Prepare to die.
Wow. Just wow.
It's true. You don't use fabric scissors for anything but fabric.
Gotcha.
It's just rude.
Well, I'm glad it's rude that you think that. You think it's rude.
To use fabric scissors to cut something other than fabric? Yeah.
Is it ruin them or something?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It messes with the sharpness. So that's why you're not supposed to use them for paper, because paper is duller than fabric.
Duller.
Or it dulls the blades. So.
Okay, gotcha. Crocheted yarn.
Crocheted yam. You know what? I bet if you go online and look, someone has crocheted yam. And it's probably made out of fluffy orange-brown yarn.
Wow. Okay. Lystexia just really kicked in, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yams
It
can
totally
be
did.
crocheted. It totally did. You sharpen by cutting aluminium.
No, you'll dull them even faster. I have ruined a pair of scissors doing that.
You sharpen scissors using tinfoil. Never heard that before.
Well, that would make sense.
That
But
would
not
make
necessarily cutting them.
Right.
But I will just break out the actual like knife sharpener, pull the scissors apart and sharpen each blade. But I'm that person.
Yes, you are.
I'm just saying clearly I know how to deal with a lot of sharp things in my house and use them for various purposes.
Be warned. Be warned. Don't ever piss her off in her kitchen. That's where most murders happen.
Yeah, but y'all are assuming I reach for the scissors first. There's so many other things.
So much yarn, she could strangle you.
Well, she's got knitting needles, rolling pins, pots, pans.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
And a meat tenderizer.
And the chicken scissors.
I do not have chicken scissors.
Everybody should have chicken scissors. Ask
You
Scott
know-
Sigler.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope, I listened to that chapter. No.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. On that note, howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I'm Paul E. Cooley. Joining me today, as always, Veronica Jaguar, and back from his sabbatical, whereupon we will find out whether said sabbatical was productive, is Terry Mixon.
Woo.
Wow. Don't all talk at once. How the hell are you fine party people?
Tired.
You're always tired.
I'm tireder than usual. I'll be tireder even still next weekend.
Why's that?
Turn-in day is Sunday of next weekend.
Oh.
My. Oh, dear.
Oh.
Someone will be making words at a breakneck pace.
Mm-hmm.
I take it we are not where we want to be in this book yet.
I don't think that I'm going to be where I want to be in this book because I procrastinated too much. I can still make the deadline, but I am not going to get ahead of that deadline.
Something we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
See.
Well, what else is going on, Terry?
Who has time for anything else?
How are the
That's your
cabinets?
whole report is screaming into a microphone.
Okay.
Got it.
Well, they should have been done with the home renovation, but let's just say that when they were installing the door, and I'm working in my office, and they're next door, and I hear, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Uh-oh, that's not good." So I stick my head out and going, "Oh shit's not good." They were installing the door for the shower, so they were drilling it in and attaching it, and one of the tiles cracked. So the door will have to come back off, the tile will have to be replaced, and then the door put back on. My wife, in her greatness, went ahead and took the extra tiles that we have for the upstairs bathroom and put them away somewhere safe for safekeeping. We cannot find them. God only knows
So they're
where they are.
super safe.
They
I'm
are
so
totally
glad they're
safe.
super safe.
Totally super safe. And so they had to order new tiles.
Oh my
So we're
God,
going to have to
you're
buy a
killing
box
me.
of tiles to go along with this. It's just one of those things. It's going to have to happen. So that was early this week. I expect early next week they will actually have it and come out and do that. They'll have to take the door down, remove the tile, re-glue it into place, and drill holes. So that should take 2 or 3 days for everything to cure and get it done. But hopefully that will be the last of it. If they crack the replacement tile, I am going to just have a fit.
Jesus Christ. This
Cats,
home
they want
renovation has
out.
been
The
hell.
cats should have been let out long ago. Sassy is now getting supervised releases because she's just gotten to be totally crazy up here. And she heard Gizmo going downstairs to eat. And she's like, oh no, if there's eating going on, I will be involved with this eating. And my wife got me a gift to put up in my office. And Sassy took one look at it and hissed. She looked at this and she just went.
I can see why. Wow.
Damn. I mean, I'm petty sometimes, but she's like,
Sassy.
wow. Aptly named.
Yes.
Very
absolutely.
aptly named.
Well, since Terry's busy trying to destroy his house, what have you been up to, V?
Let's see. I have been catching up on my own writing, which I finished the scene that I wanted to. It's probably shit, but I finished it because you can't edit a blank page, so I finished that. I finally got pickups back for the anthology project that I started in February. And you ever make so many mistakes that it's clearly a learning situation and you are going to change your process from here on out because you now know how to simplify things for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know that lie that I tell myself. Yeah.
Right. So I had 320 pickups on this project.
Oh, ow.
And a good number of them were because with fantasy worlds, names are made up. And what is on the page doesn't necessarily phonetically match what's supposed to come out of your mouth. And yeah. So I will now have a better method for dealing with that in the future. And it took me 2 days to record 320 pickups. I apologized profusely to my proofer. And I've now made it a point to when I do, because when you do pickups, essentially you go through and record everything in one file.
Mm-hmm.
But I always put in markers that correspond to, it's usually like a page number and A, B, C, depending upon how many are on a page. And if they're a chunk, I'll just re-record that piece and say, okay, this takes care of pickups, 229 ABC.
Okay.
I've made it a point to do the markers and then export that CSV file because if this poor engineer has to put in all of these, pickups, I may as well try to make their life as easy as possible.
Fair enough.
damn. I had to send them 2 separate WAV files because after at the 200th pickup, Adobe Audition was starting to freeze on me with all of the, because it's session, so you have all the little like snippets in there. And it was like, yeah, no, stop. Please don't. So I didn't. So, yeah. Other than that, I've been doing a different kind of procrastinating. So I will be able to lend in on that because there are certain things I should be doing to move narrating forward that I haven't. And to move writing forward that I haven't. So, but trying to fix stuff. What about you? You have the backlog. I want to know about this backlog.
Oh God!
It's like if it is like podcast appropriate, which is a wide, I mean that's a low bar, but who knows?
We'll table some of that discussion for the episode, but managed to get 7 or 8 chapters recorded and proofed. Okay. So only 310,000 words to go this year, something like that, 320. I recorded 3 in one day without doing any editing at all, just recording bang, bang, bang. And then I was recording another one, and it turned out that for some reason I was getting crackles and static in the file. And so I had to re-record, 20 minutes of audio. And that was enough to make me want to just smash my head through a wall. So, yeah, that sucked. I have not done a lick of writing, but I've been thinking about writing. There's reasons for that, but one thing I did do this week is I took an ancient trap out of Kindle Unlimited, and as of today it should be going into all of the Draft to Digital stores, affiliates out there, and libraries and whatnot. So then I'm going to start trying to figure out how to pimp it from there. This is an experiment, but right now my Kindle Unlimited page reads are in the toilet. So I've got to do something, and this is a good book. That's a popular book that I think is a good petri dish for what I ultimately want to do with the black, I always wanted to take the black series wide anyway. And if it doesn't keep making money on KU, then there's no reason for me to even put Extinction out into KU. There's just no point. Might as well just go wide from the very get-go. But we'll see what happens with Oceania, assuming I ever get a goddamn fucking cover to go along with it. The same thing goes with Extinction. And then, of course, Neptune Scars. You were talking about the backlog? Oh, God. So anyway, there's... try to get into that. Tibby on Mastodon hit me with, are you going to be on bookshop.org? So I went and looked at bookshop.org. Became an affiliate, only to find out you cannot add ebooks. Now, what's really funny is they say this will be available in early 2025. I'm like, really? It's May.
They're missing.
Your definition of early is not my definition of early.
Now, if you don't know what bookshop.org is, you should go take a look at it. You can buy this stuff online and have a portion of the money go to a bookstore of your choice. So the idea is to basically, you buy the books online, a brick and mortar, small independent bookseller gets gets some cash out of it. So it's an interesting concept. I really want to see how it works in practice. But 7 of my books are up on bookshop.org already, and up for sale. So that's really interesting. Don't know how that works, but I'm guessing they're ordering it from Amazon for you. I guess that's how it works. But I'm looking at other ways to do that and investigating all this good stuff. And of course, playing with Draft Digital finally for the first time for real. So we'll see how all that works. If only I had the audiobook recorded, we could be doing shenanigans with that too. But I don't have the audiobook recorded. See backlog. So yeah. That's pretty much about what's been going on in my world, apart from some personal stuff I can't talk about. Don't want to talk about. It's too fucking depressing. But there's been a lot of crazy going on in the last 7 days. Let's just put it that way. So, I want to know about squirrels.
They're eating the tomatoes I planted, and I'm really pissed off at them. Oh, you
Now,
mean
Terry,
not literal squirrels?
Terry, unless you're a furry at night and you wear a suit and go around making chipmunk noises, well, squirrel noises, while going after nuts, you're going to have to explain why your moniker is Squirrel.
Well, I think you've pretty much tagged me right there with the first part. That's exactly what I do at night. I put on my super squirrel outfit and I solve crimes while stealing nuts.
Wow.
Okay, I'd like to note that was at 15:35. We're gonna snip that later, and that is a tag.
That's a YouTube short right there.
You found me out.
That's a YouTube short.
For those wanting to write middle grade fiction, there you have it. Terry Nixon is Captain Squirrel.
Rick says Terry's just a squirrel trying to get a nut, so move your butt.
He's not wrong. No, I've got a deadline. I'm supposed to turn in the book on the 25th, and life just keeps wanting to distract me with other things that are interesting. And my writing brain goes, "Ooh, but what about this cool other thing?" And I'm like, "Deadline! You have a deadline to get to." And it's like, "No, but this other cool thing." I am managing to balance it out to where I'm still on target to hit the deadline, but the other things that are interesting are taking their due, and so it's going to come right down to the wire, and it's going to get turned in on the day that it's due, having been finished that day. That's the way it's going to be.
So your squirrelness has been contributing to your procrastination?
It is. I love the Traveler role-playing game, and I've been spending far too much time screwing around with stuff in it.
Do you store nuts in your cheeks? No, between his cheeks. At least that's what I heard.
Well, I'm not the only one to store nuts between my cheeks because, well, there's always drag queens.
True.
And ballet dancers.
I was unaware of that.
They use a dance belt. That's what it's called, if I remember correctly, and it drives your nuts right up against your ass, practically.
There are some guidelines for certain contours in certain situations, and they have to be assisted.
I see.
You can't have Donkey Kong coming out to play while you're, dancing and everything else.
Oh, no.
Don't you remember Top Secret?
Suite takes a whole new meaning.
They take Val Kilmer to this ballet, and there's one dancer who's well endowed, and all the women are just using it as a springboard as they're doing their ballet dancing. You don't remember this?
I don't think I ever saw it.
I was in theater in college. I knew some ballet dancers and who were also in theater, and they complained vociferously about dancing belts. That's how I know these things. Rick says getting kicked in the groin during sparring will drive your nuts right into your ass too. Yeah, I would imagine this.
Yeah.
Why, yes, it will.
Yeah, Top Secret, James.
What? Gotcha, boy.
JR wants to know, when did this become the Chuck Tingle Radio Hour? Oh, we have yet to
If
begin.
only we were that popular.
No kidding.
It's not the Chuck Tingle Radio Hour. We haven't brought dinosaurs into this once.
Yet.
Yet. So what are you actually doing to keep from procrastinating next time?
That's a great question. My answer,
Dead air.
My answer is...
I'm sorry, I was reading Matt's comment in the chat, and I'm like, oh dear.
My answer is that I'm going to have to do a little bit every day, whether I feel like doing it or not, and do it sooner in the process rather than later in the process. Because that's where my procrastination usually gets me. In the beginning, I'll go, oh, I've got plenty of time. In the middle, I got, okay, I'm going to have to get on the thing here and get this done. And at the end goes, I am sure behind here. I really need to put everything else aside and go to this. I would like to actually avoid that going forward. But to do that, I have to do something sooner in the process rather than later.
I like to think of a deadline like a house. maybe your house, my house. And every week, a fire starts.
That's
And
not a great house.
if you're keeping up with the work, you put the fire out. You just you have 5 flame icons, right? And the first one means, hey, there's something burning in the kitchen. You should do something about that. The second one is, oh, maybe you need a fire extinguisher. The third is, oh, holy shit, the house is going to burn down. The fourth is, the house is burning down. The fifth is, it's a catastrophic hole in the ground.
I don't know that you've got the right order in those sort of things. I think the fire extinguisher needs to come before the kitchen fire.
Nah, because you just toss the lid on top of the pot and you're good to go. Put out the grease fire. Anyway, it's not a perfect metaphor or analogy, but the bottom line is there is a number of weeks that I have to, or number of weeks, not months, number of weeks I have before the next book is due. And therefore, I know I can fuck off for so many weeks, so long as I get all these things done, and I'm getting this done per week. So if I get ahead, I can slack a day or two. But once you get behind, it's harder and harder to catch up because you have to do more and more work every day to basically catch up to your deadline and make sure you're going to meet it. So if you treat it like a fire, where it's actually going to burn and scald things you love, I think you're more likely to get less procrastination, ignore the squirrels, and actually get your shit done.
So what you're saying is that it helps if you have benchmarks on a weekly basis, that you say your absolute minimums that you have to meet to stay on track.
Yes.
So rather than having that huge end goal, I have to finish the first draft for this entire book, then it's by the end of the first week, I need to finish 3 chapters. Knowing that if I don't finish, right. Okay. So, spoiler, I used to teach this way back in the day. Just because I teach it doesn't mean I can implement it.
Well, it's a lot easier to talk about how you're going to do
absolutely.
it and how to look at it rather than actually doing it. Just look at Terry for that matter.
Well, there's that. And there's also, as you get older and situations change, your anti-procrastination skills in one scenario don't necessarily work in another scenario.
Right. This is very true.
Yeah.
And I don't have deadlines for audiobooks, which is one of the reasons they take so goddamn long to get done. Because I'd rather be writing.
Okay.
I'd much rather be writing.
So here's a question. What does your procrastination look like? I know what mine looks like.
Me writing versus audiobooks.
Okay. So it's something else that is productive and gets you closer to another goal, but it's not necessarily the goal that you have, and it's not necessarily the primary most important goal at the moment.
Well, the last 2 weeks I've been reading. Thank you for turning me on to Day of the Triffids, guys. I'm really enjoying that. I've been reading that. I've been reading Thorns by somebody. I can't remember their name. I really am enjoying that book too. And I've been getting stuff done and around the house and other things like that. Non-creative projects,
right,
and stress releases has been going on. And I think it's because Kill Shelter somehow burned me out or something along those lines.
Yeah, that you can't be expected to... Okay. So my favorite form of procrastination, when I should be doing shit, is reading stuff about how to do things better. And so also I read really fast. Like I have to sit and take notes to slow down so I don't read too quickly. In the past 5 weeks, I've burned through 6. I want to say 6 or 7 different books about productivity, small business stuff, mindset, and then a Brene Brown book on emotions for the whole acting thing. And a couple of things that come up is how do you focus on what you absolutely have to do And how do you recognize the what you absolutely have to do versus the I think this is really important, I should still be doing it. And when you're working for yourself and you're working out of your own house, it's like you're playing the game on impossible, because
Yes.
everything is there to distract you.
Yes.
And you can always find something productive to do that needs to be done.
That is very, very true.
Like no matter what. Mine is usually, well, I should be working on writing rather than, like right now, the absolute priority is I need to get my demos done. Actually, take that back. The absolute priority is I need to reach out to more publishers. That's the absolute priority. And because of that, I'm like, oh gosh, everything has to be perfect. So I should have the website perfect. All my demos should be perfect. I can't put myself out there until everything is absolutely perfect. The side to this is I can't put the book out until everything inside is absolutely perfect. I can't send it to an alpha reader until it's absolutely perfect.
Gosh.
And perfect is the enemy of done. I know. So what I've told myself is I was thinking I have to get both websites done, both mine and my pseudo. Technically, I don't. The voice is the same. I just need to get the demos done for one. So I have like maybe 5 I've got to fix. Once those are done, go back to Heinlein's rules. Your shit has to be on the market. I got to send those emails. Because if your stuff doesn't get out, you're not making money.
Yep. This is true.
And so but I'm still like, well, but I should have a game plan. I should make sure that I have my public domain stuff put together. I should be writing things. No. It looks like it's useful, but it's not. I'm not going to get paid because I managed to organize my linen closet to make the towels look pretty. It might make me feel good. It might give me a little dopamine boost. Oh, look, I did something organizing. No. Nobody cares.
Well, there needs to be some stuff done. I think it was Brandon Sanderson says he doesn't sit and write for all day, to make his word count. He writes for 30 minutes at a time because he's off doing other shit.
Exactly,
and he just comes back to it.
Right, and that's good to do. So if you want a good, I've talked about this book before. Deep Work by Cal Newport is an excellent book on how to chunk up your days when you work in creative spaces. And it gives a brilliant argument for working really hard creatively for 2 to 3 hours and then doing something else totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how your brain works. Your brain comes up with ideas when you're doing the little things, not when you're actually sitting there on the page. You're just putting those ideas on paper. The other one that I just finished, he also wrote it, Cal Newport, is Slow Productivity. And it's the idea that you don't have to work faster. You need to minimize what you're doing. So you're only working on 1 to 2 things. Like at most you have 3 big projects. That's it. Everything else is in a holding pattern. Shut up. I know.
Sorry.
But if you have to go back and forth, you only have 3 choices, maybe 2. And yes, so James mentions Atomic Habits by James Clear, I think. It's good. It's good if you're just starting out. But if you want something that Newport stuff directly contributes to creative work and stuff that doesn't fit in a 9 to 5.
Gotcha.
But by minimizing what you could possibly switch to, then you're going to be doing one or the other.
Small and big projects. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. According to my moniker, backlog, that's pretty much what's happening is I have a lumber. If you've ever seen the old pictures of logs floating down the river and everything else, and they get a log jam. That's what it is. You have all the logs, they get stuck there, and they can't move because none of them can go downstream.
Mm-hmm.
So the backlog is basically, I have all of these books that are waiting their turn to get shit done for them, like covers, like editing, like audiobook narration. And so I have 4 or 5 different books now that are just sitting there waiting. And it's going to be a while before any of them get out at this rate because of what has to happen before we get there. And the longer it takes for that to happen, the less money I'm making. So I have a vested interest in getting it done fast, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to ride. There's all this other stuff I want to do.
And here's the thing. You've got, if they're all in a holding pattern and you're waiting on someone else, then those projects are in a holding pattern. You've gotten as far as you can without something else happening. Without somebody else weighing in and contributing. And at that point, they have to be off to the side. They're not they cannot move down the river.
The biggest thing I'm waiting on is me.
What do you have to so what's the next thing you have to do?
I have to finish recording Oceania, and then I have to get Extinction ready, and I have to start recording Extinction.
So the first thing you have to do is finish Oceania.
Yes, and it's a nightmare.
So that's the first thing.
I know, and that's what I'm working on,
and
it
breaking
sucks.
that down. And then everything else behind it, if you've got to pick one non-narrating project to have, if you need to shift, then that can sit to the side, and that's what you pivot to when you can't narrate, when the leaf blower chorus is going off.
It was the
people.
You're muted.
Try again.
Where's some mute?
You were typing a novel.
You're not muted anymore, but you were.
I'm typing a damn novel. Let me type my damn novel.
Nobody needs
I don't
to
even
hear
remember what I was saying anymore. Oh, the leaf blowers were singing the song of their people.
Man, I had a period yesterday where they came out and they did several lawns on my block over like 2 hours. And I recorded for 30 minutes, and then the motherfuckers started on the street behind me. And there was another 2 hours I lost because of leaf blowers going on back there. And then I've had to deal with birds tweeting right outside my window. I'm about ready to get a shotgun. About ready to get a shotgun. So there's all these little things just keep contributing. And then there's the breaks I have because I've had to take care of stuff for my parents. And so that breaks up my days 3 days a week. I'm kind of screwed on trying to get stuff done. And occasionally I have a day where it's just all them. So I'm trying to manage it as best I can. I'm not doing a very good job, but I'm getting on it more and getting more of the narration done. It's just a slog. It's just a big slog right now. But that's the backlog. The backlog is significant. And of course I have 3 works in progress. They haven't had much love lately. So, it's a problem. It's all a big problem. So I don't know how I'm going to solve it other than just basically going straight through it and doing the best I can. And that's what I'm trying to do. And of course I have to do all of this too because I have to get ahead of the podcast. Because when Oceania ends, Extinction is supposed to begin. And Oceania has, I don't know how many weeks left, but quite a few, but still it's not enough time. As far as I'm concerned, it's not enough time. Considering all the work that I still need to do on Extinction, as far as editing it and all that. But the alpha reader was happy with it, so that was a big load off my shoulders. Big load off my shoulders. Now Terry obviously needs to switch up and get his recording done and then go play with Travelers, how he needs to do that.
That's obviously what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't you doing it?
Poor self-control.
Yep.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's not as fun.
No, I mean, so I know exactly what he's talking about. I mean, there's certain books I just want to go back and write on again. and do that just constantly forever. But I have to edit, I have to do all these other things that are in front of it. So I have to keep switching back to some things that I don't want to do because I've read it too many times, or it's it just seems like a mountain that's unclimbable. And so I'm having to work on that every day, try and figure out exactly how to do it. But I'm making it work, just not as fast as I should. But you can already hear my voice is kind of crunchy today. So I've had days where I'm kind of crunchy and can't quite get done what I need to get done on the writing front or the recording front because my voice just will not comply. So those are my issues. They're not really first world issues. Well, they are first world issues. Sorry. They're not like major, life-threatening events or anything like that. It's just a matter of putting on my big boy pants and getting shit done. Uh-oh. Time to put on your big girl panties.
Yep. One of the many little kitschy signs I have in here.
Gotcha.
The other one that's next to it actually says "Live now, procrastinate later." I have not been taking my.
There should be a sign that says "I don't have time to procrastinate."
There should be. Wow, there should be. Yeah, there are a couple things that I've read that I know work for me with certain tasks because Rowdy says my wife made me take my big girl panties off. I'm like, I'm sorry. I think whatever makes you comfortable, whatever makes you need to express yourself. That is okay.
I think the way you should have rephrased that is she made you take her big panties off. Big girl.
No. Let the mind wander. There's so many scenarios that come from this.
Either way is acceptable if it's consensual.
They were thongs.
You know what? If that makes you feel cute, go for it. I support your choices. I truly do.
Feeling cute, might do this other thing later. I don't know.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow.
Anyway, so a couple of the ways that I think you can, that I've read and that I know will work for me in certain cases. I'm very situation specific, or I guess influenced by environment. So if I have a certain place that I do a certain type of work, it makes sense to do that type of work there and to move to another spot, be it in the house or outside of the house, where I can get that work done. So like all of my recording work, obviously, I can't record anyplace else, so it has to be in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
But that means there's a computer in there. I do nothing else but record. I don't answer email in there. I don't do research in there. That's all I do. I just record. So I have a desk here. This is where I usually do admin work. Sometimes I have to write. But if I'm going to write, stuff gets cleared off. I've taken most of my crochet stuff. It's off of the desk. So I can't reach for it and mess with it. So if I have to write, that's all I'm doing. If I have to do admin stuff, that's all I'm doing. If I can do any work that just involves the laptop, I will leave the house. I will go to the library or the coffee shop and I will sit and do work there because I don't have to go full Taoism in the library. I can't just up and decide, that I'm going to go clean the kitchen or, do this other little thing in the backyard that seems like it's important. And because it's important, I should go do it right now. I'm not going to do that if I'm out of the house. I have to focus and get stuff done in that place. But I understand that not everybody can do that because you don't always have the freedom to do that. So then it's, how do you set yourself up? Terry always mentions the mynoise.net as a way to focus. It is amazing. Pay them $20, get access to the whole site. Their app, I got their app on my phone because I now do any like journaling and reading and planning. I do it at my kitchen table. I don't walk in here to do any of that because I'll get distracted by the screens and shiny, stupid things. So I'll sit down and do it at the kitchen table, and I'll turn that app on, and I'll put the timer on, and it's 30 minutes with just whatever background noise I need, and that tells me it's time to sit down and focus.
I start my metal playlist. Lamb of God helps me focus. No idea why. It just does. But I can't listen to music while I'm recording audio.
No, you can't. You can't.
And you've got a definite advantage, because if I had my druthers, I'd have my recording studio in a different room.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere else to put it. So I'm stuck here, and I got to do everything in this room unless I'm going to start moving computers around, and I don't have a laptop that's worth a shit. So I'm kind of trapped in that, and I think that's part of the reason I have some problems getting productive sometimes. Because of that very reason. Because I do everything in here. I spend most of my life in this room.
Yeah.
I need to get out more. What goes with that? Without saying.
Would there be a way to create a pseudo booth for yourself in that space?
I don't know that there's enough room. Plus, there's a ceiling fan that's pretty low. I looked at that sound isolation booth, and it would hit my ceiling fan would hit it.
I'm not saying even that much. I'm saying PVC and moving blankets. Something just to wall yourself off, to give yourself a little slightly enclosed space that is separate, so that when you go in there, and if you can bring the microphone over, and then either you have, if you're recording off of your laptop, or depending upon your recording setup, you could have, if you're not, are you doing punch and roll or just straight recording?
Straight recording.
Oh, then what you do is look at that handsome boy.
I can't decide if that cat is stoned or surprised. It seems like it's seen something. It's seen things,
I've seen so many things, Dad. Oh, it's doing the upside down. See, if that was my cat, that's an invitation for belly rubs, but sometimes that's the false invitation.
Oh,
I wonder if
with him it's not false. He loves belly rubs.
Oh.
I wonder if my DJI mic that I'm wearing right now is good enough for audiobook recording. I wonder.
I would worry about like rustling and whatnot.
Well, that's why I've got the dead cat mount on it.
You could try.
I may try that.
Because if you did that, and then if you move to a separate space, and if you have a tablet or some other screen to serve as a prompt, then literally just hit the record button.
Yep.
And go and do that. Because that's what I used to do before I could punch and roll, and I was recording into a solid state, just one of the older Zoom recorders.
Yep. I used those too way back in the day.
As long as you know you're going to have to edit things out, that's a way to move and pull yourself away from your regular working screen, so that you can go in and focus.
I'll have to see. I'll have to try that and see if it works.
Yeah, but I mean, and moving blankets, serious. Just Harbor Freight. That was my wall treatment for the longest time before I had my booth here. I'm not kidding. I got command hooks, I got moving blankets, and I got the little like grommet maker sets.
Right.
And I sat and punched grommets into moving blankets, and then used command hooks to hang them up on the wall. And that was okay. It was enough to keep the reverberations. But if you get PVC pipe and you create, and that's the thing, you can do pipe, you could just find a corner where you can hang them up. And if you have a corner where you can create that like like that 45-degree angle bit, so you're not instantly, reverberating off. Then you can deaden that space a little bit, and it may work.
Matt says the DJI mics are actually pretty good. Not perfect, but more than good enough for spoken word. Their frequency response is boosted in the human vocal range, and the dead cat removes a lot of quote-unquote wind noise.
There you go.
Maybe I'll try that when I get this goddamn book done. Maybe I'll try that with Ancient Trap and see if I can do it. We'll see. Good advice.
As for myself, we've got to replace a shed out on my back patio. And I seriously have thought about going ahead, and I've already got a window air conditioner that I could put out there, and I could force myself to work outside away from internet connectivity, which is my big problem.
That would be amazing. I mean, and that's the thing. If you've got the for all of us where we live, it's the heat and having. Because I mean, I know a lot of our overseas folks like, what? No, you just open the windows and turn on the ceiling fans. No, we'll die.
A nuclear wind comes in.
Yeah, because they say it's not the heat, it's humidity. The reason we keep the AC on year round is because if we don't, the humidity will create mold that will grow legs and strangle us.
So you know that scene from the Terminator movies where she's holding on to the fence and the nuclear wave just turns into a skeleton?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happens when you open a window down here.
Yeah.
Right now, yes.
Exactly.
It's only May 17th and it's already hit 98.
Yeah, I had to go outside and like water my garden and my little potted plants. I'm sitting there spraying the concrete with the watering hose so I can stand out there barefoot. But yeah, if you've got a window, if you've got a window unit, that would solve the comfort problem to a degree. And that's the thing. If you can give yourself a comfortable space to work where you can work uninterrupted for a set amount of time, you're already more productive.
My office just doesn't work. I've got cat distractions. I've got things that I can do around the house. I can't go to the library because I dictate, so that's not exactly very helpful.
Does your library have rooms you can reserve? I know the library.
Yes, but I don't have a laptop.
Oh, okay.
See, now, I could take my computer or buy a separate computer to carry out there.
Tablet?
Maybe.
Or your phone?
I've tried recording on my phone before, and it has been problematic. Now, I've used an iPad before to do dictation, and it works to a degree. So that is something that I could use. But most likely for using Dragon, I will want a full-blown PC of some kind. It may end up being a laptop of some kind, but it would have to be something like that. Yeah,
it's, again, if you can invest in things that help you do your job better and minimize distractions, it's a good thing.
Well, it would be easier if I could, throw the cats out of my office while I'm working. I can't do that until this renovation is done.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. There's another...
I've done that before in the past, thrown all the cats out and said, we're done here. We're done here.
That's it. Wham. Yeah, there's another... Sorry, I can hear other people, but I don't know if y'all can. The other thing that comes up in a couple of the books that I've read, and that is something that's really important to remember, is depending upon your life situation, sometimes you have to think about productivity and in terms of like seasonality. So there's certain times of the year where you can be more productive than others, or there's certain periods in life where you're going to be more productive than not, and you just have to kind of own it. Like, I know I'm never going to be as productive as someone who was not shuttling teenagers around. My days have to end between 2:30 and 3 o'clock most days.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's because I got to go out and pick people up.
Mine have to end at 1.
Yeah. What?
3 days a week.
Yeah, I know that's going to end at some point because thank goodness the child has a learner's permit. But the rule is you have to have it for a whole year here until you can get your license.
Right.
So I'm going through this for a whole year.
James says the tablet Terry has is made of stone and has 10 lines on it.
Actually, JR said that.
Oh, JR, sorry.
Yeah.
Rowdy says it's
like
clay,
yours,
JR, and he writes in cuneiform.
Doesn't everyone?
Only the cool kids, Terry.
Only the cool kids.
These
Only the
newfangled
cool
languages, who uses them?
But it's sometimes you just have to be okay with saying this project is not going to happen. But I'll get to it later.
Yeah, I don't have
really
that
hard.
option. I don't have that
and that's
option.
the thing. When you've got when you have a deadline, and you have to get it done. Yeah, I know.
The key for me to be productive is I need to get on what I need to do first thing in the morning. If I don't get it done in the morning, it often does not get done.
Yep.
And what distractions do I have? Why? I don't know what distractions I have.
Yeah, I've got Rogue who's knocking over coffee and decides he needs to be picked up, and he'll rattle the door if I lock him out. You know, the dog has to go potty. Shadow wants food. You know, it's cats scrabbling at the back of my shorts saying, "Hey, Daddy, I need something. Get up." Or it's you know, Violet coming in here and bumping me and going, "Hey, I need to go out." It just never ends. It just never ends.
I have at least 2 days a week where I have to. I'm driving in the morning, and I will not get back to the house until 9 or 10. And it's usually 10 because I also know that I need to go for a walk. I need to move. I need to do stuff. Darn this meat sack. But I also know that it will help creativity. So maybe I can't start working that day until 10:30. But at the same time, I'm still doing something worthwhile that's going to help me focus later on. And plus, I play Pokemon Go for an hour, and that makes me happy. Just walking with my phone, fling, fling.
Well, since Terry was talking about the shiny, and you've also been talking about shiny, one thing I do try and accomplish is if I have an idea or I have a book going, is I will write down my outline of it or new thoughts. I'll write that in my notebook or whatever else. Mm-hmm. And then when it's time to go back to that work, I have all these notes that will help me jump right back into where I was with new ideas on how the story is supposed to go, what the characters are doing, maybe some problems that I've found solutions for, or maybe something I need to go back and rewrite in one of the earlier parts of the book because now it doesn't make sense or there's a better way to do it. So it's not like I forget all the stuff I have in progress. It's not like I forget all the stuff that I have to do. It's a matter of trying to figure out when I can get done what I need to get done, but making sure I don't lose track of all the shit that I have to get done, regardless of the order of it.
And sometimes in that case, and for me, it was one of the hardest things to kind of admit that it was necessary and it wasn't procrastination. But sometimes you literally have to set aside time to plan. Mm-hmm. You literally have to go, okay, this is necessary. It's not wasting time. This will help me get things organized. I'm going to give myself an hour and a half on a Thursday morning or a Friday morning to see where I stand from the beginning of the week. What else do I need to do? And how can I set up the next week? And sometimes you just have to, brain dump all the tasks and organize them. It's like,
right.
It's like cleaning a closet. Sometimes the only way to do it is to pull all the shit out, dump it on the floor, sigh dramatically, get a cup of coffee and go, okay. And then you start pushing stuff in the piles and you figure out what actually is worthwhile and needs to go back and arrange so you can find things. And what's actually trash that you should have thrown out, or tasks that you should have just given to other people because they're not your job.
Yeah. It's all strategies.
Not
The
easy.
problem is implementing them.
Yes, yes, it is all well and good to talk about them. Actually making it happen is a totally different thing.
So get up off your ass. Get up off your ass and get it done.
Yes, Mia.
Let me bring up here and let me go ahead and bring up live, and I'll post what I'm currently looking at here.
Oh no. This can't be good.
Distraction.
That's what you say.
Yeah.
More distractions, yes.
Yeah. I think I've
not a
pinpointed
distraction.
like the exact. So I've pinpointed like a 3/4 mile stretch of road where all of my ideas hit.
Right.
It's like 2 miles from my house, but driving, I had to literally stop at the stoplight, grab my phone, and my daughter's looking at me one morning going, what are you? It's like, I figured I had to start a story. And she's like, what? Why are you so weird?
JR says we need Richard Simmons to pop out of our closets to make us right when we get distracted.
Considering he's dead, that would be very, very distracting.
That would be. Huh. That's big.
Well, it has windows, and I like
It does
that.
have windows. Yeah.
So I could maybe find something smaller. I'd have to go measure, but I think I may actually have enough space out there for that. Maybe not. I may have to go with something that's very like it, but smaller.
If it were me, I would go smaller only so I can't use it for any other purpose and I can't bring anything else in there. Because, I mean, ideally, you'd want it big enough for whatever kind of desk you need to be comfortable to, talk and record, or maybe big enough to do a couple paces back and forth. And then I would make sure that you've got a coffee maker. So if you wanted to run electrical and get a drop in there.
There's one that's 10 by 12. It's only slightly less expensive, though. That's kind of weird.
It may depend on who's making it. I bet because the windows are bigger.
Oh, assembly included.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why it's expensive.
Obviously, I am not going to put it together myself. So, yes,
No.
I want them to put it together for me.
I don't know. That's kind of nice. If you're going to make that into like a little backyard, office writing space, because you've got opportunities for natural light. You can always, if you need more light, you can string up Christmas lights or rope lights or whatever to add some additional lighting in there.
It's got an adaptive door location, so I could put the door on one side and the windows on the other, depending on how I want to do it. I like that.
Yeah.
Terry's putting in stuff into live about basically a productivity shed.
Having a separate office writing space, because sometimes the office is not very office-y.
It's not. It's hell.
Yeah.
Could you easily add power? Sure.
Yes. Yeah. We've done that in our place because we have a shed where we store stuff, but it's got a light. And when we built our deck, we ran power out there to have a hookup so we could bring the TV out and watch games outside.
I don't have a hookup that would work there, but I literally I had them install an outdoor plug on the patio that's maybe 4 feet away from where the front door would be. So that could easily be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not insurmountable.
I don't think my HOA would let me have one of those. Rowdy says, be like G.R.R. Martin and buy a whole house as an office to work in, or not right in, as it goes. Ow.
Well, I mean, and there are people who rent, like communal workspaces, and that's another good way to do it because you have a set amount of time where you have to go in and work. And so you have this space reserved and you're paying for it. And therefore you're going to go in and you've got to hit that word count or that, hours of work recorded. And you have to, because by the time you're done, what?
I just happen to be looking through the thing there, and I see one that is 16 by 32 feet. Holy
Jesus.
cow! What are you
That's a
parking
house.
To
that?
raise the barn.
Good God. That's frightening. Well, we should probably wrap this up by saying y'all sat here and were procrastinating for an hour listening to us jabber about procrastination.
Pretty much.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
But at the same time,
Enablers.
thing allowed you to relax so that you can be more creative later. And maybe you got some ideas on how to fix procrastination. It wasn't a total waste.
All sounds like bullshit to me. All sounds like excuses.
This is not writing excuses. That's another podcast.
Oh, that is another podcast. If you have something to say about this episode, you can leave a comment on our YouTube feed, or you can leave a comment on the website by going there and at deadrobotsociety.com, smashing that contact button and send us an email. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast, where we are live every Saturday at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe so you know when we're live. And if you want to join our Discord, you can find the link in the show notes and join our crazy, happy family of lunatics there. And you'll also be able to see what's going on in the live channel. Just don't ever look in After Dark unless you're a patron. Just don't do it. Hell, even if you're a patron, don't look in After Dark. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows like the one that's coming up in about 9 minutes, somewhere in there.
Thereabouts.
And if you contribute at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Juan Valentin, James Terrell, Antoine Batch, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. Did I miss anything? I get everything right?
So. I think you got everything right. Good job.
Okay, for once. I stumbled at the beginning, but I recovered. Anyway, Paul reads the fine print well.
He like did a little lawyer voice at the end.
I can't talk that fast. I cannot talk that fast.
I'm sure they don't either. They just talk and then somebody speeds it up for them.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. They take out all the space between the words, and it just sounds like it's barely understandable, like lawyers. Anyway, we are going to get out of here. Thanks for joining us. Hope you learned something. God knows we didn't, but we tried. We tried. So have a great rest of your Saturday, and patrons, we'll see you in just about 7.5 minutes. Bye.
Bye.